gameplay trailer. So here we go, and the first thing you see is Woods, and Sergeant Frank Woods was, as you know, in Black Ops 1 blown up, or as we assumed, dead, because it basically assumed that he was dead. But now in the trailer his name's come up, and it's obviously set in the future as of because of the date. It says 2025, so it's in the near future. It's not that far. Let's continue.
Aside from the fact that I'm still alive, none of this surprises me.
Right, for a second bit, that obviously Treyarch is making Black Ops 2, so, and you can see little numbers around the screen which indicate important dates and key dates around the game that will obviously happen. Anything, I think you can kind of see coordinates near the front, so yeah.
Technology got stronger.
This scene was absolutely crazy. You had helicopters, advanced helicopters in fact, or airplanes dropping in, probably troops, probably supplies that you have to overrun, and later on in the game you got air pilots using obviously advanced technology. You got them landing in what seems to be an airport, and then you've got what FPS Russia seemed to display as the quad rotor, or however you want to pronounce it. You see that in action because that's obviously high tech. And then you got this big machine which is actually on the screen right now. It's like a walking, talking machine with literally a machine gun. So that's interesting to know. I'm betting that if this is a kill streak, it's going to be something high up on the top, like at least 20 kill streaks, kills or point streaks as required to get it. But obviously this is all about campaign, and I doubt any of this is in multiplayer.
But we got weaker.
So at the beginning of this clip, we actually saw a quad rotor in the top right hand corner, as well as a rocket going off, probably weapons of mass destruction, and you can see that it typically is more advanced than our current technology. And then in the second slide you actually saw like almost a Blackbird type plane flying around, and that's just generally used. I think it's similar to a Blackbird simply because of its stealth technology. However, it can be something like a stealth bomber or something similar. Like, could even be a spy plane for all we know, but it best resembles a Blackbird. And then in the third clip we actually see a plane going into a city. Now remember, this is campaign, and a plane going into a city means obviously the pilot's lost control, so there's probably been a breach in the systems, and hopefully that follows on to what White Boy 7th Street said about kill streaks being a spy, having spy as a kill streak, so then you don't know who the enemy is. And I think Woods actually mentioned something about how technology was increasing. And then in the next clip you can see about 3 quad rotors in action, shooting all by themselves, no one around. And then in the third clip, what you can actually see on the screen now, we have what it's like to move a quad rotor, and you have loads of things going on. You have a timer, assuming that it runs out. You got stuff on the right that says squad follow, tap LB to squad follow, or hold LB to all follow, and stuff like that. And obviously this is campaign and not multiplayer, so there is a difference. I mean, you've got little symbols here at the bottom which probably mean something, which probably don't, and I think it's nice to see that you can now not only go up and down in a helicopter, but you can go left and right, so it's always good to see that.
We build computers, robots.
Okay, in the first clip that we actually see, we see him turn on his watch, or what looks like a futuristic watch, an adapted watch, and we can see like small parts of the map, and then in the corner of his watch we see like a different camera that's been placed there, perhaps watching over the enemy from a different angle. Also, the reason I say it's a watch is because there are times, there are dates. It seemed like to be a countdown as well, and including the conditions, which it said 72 Celsius, so it's all good. And then in the second clip we actually see like a map of the city, but in a different perspective, and I think that this is not as a kill streak or anything. I think that this is just simply cinematics for increasing, I don't know, sales or something. But then in the third clip that we actually see a X-ray image of a guy holding a gun, and you can kind of see the thermals. And actually this follows on to my next point, because in killstreak, in terms of perk wise, this was apparently going to be one perk within the sniper rifles, which can actually see through walls, and that we can see through objects that people have, and we can see people clearly. And from this clip we can clearly see the person, we can clearly see the gun he has, we can clearly see everything basically, so it looks all good. And then in the next clip that you guys can see right here is the object, the kill streaks, what I think themselves. You know, you got the quad rotor, you got the environment looks completely different. It looks like there's going to be a lot of close combat quarters, as well as nowhere really to hide, which I really like in Call of Duty, because it keeps it fast paced. There's no one hiding, and if a map is designed especially like this, it looks really interactive. Not like those bland maps which aren't really realistic or anything. But as I said, we got the machine gun on the front. We got a new machine that's in the front that gives off a green light, and it looks like it has 3 grenade launchers as well as just basic guns, machine guns perhaps, and I think that has unlimited amount of ammo, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go on and watch the rest.
Unmanned armies, and no one ever asked.
Alright, quite happened a lot in this clip that's coming out, although that you guys have already seen. And basically, we can see the quad rotors in action, and we can see like this massive plane that I thought was a Blackbird attack this massive building and coming down on our character. And as you can see, the character simply doesn't look old from his arm or from the characters that surround him. So it's really good to see that. And then after, we see a rubble of destruction, and we see loads of planes go by. So air support is definitely a key factor in this Call of Duty Black Ops, and I hope it isn't like Modern Warfare 3, where the high streaks are simply just too great to handle. And then in the next clip, we see planes going across a building, and I suspect that this is in the US. And the reason I say that is because there's a billboard that says Colan, and in the background of that it has a US flag, or US colors relating to the US flag, sorry, and loads of buildings surrounding it. So I feel like this is taking place in an invasion of some sort. And then in the next clip, we just have the what I want to call now is human sentry guns, or advanced sentry guns, because that's what they basically are. The green lights are sort of like detectors, which detect if any enemies are there, and you can see as they swerve around that they are detecting for enemies. And then in the last clip that you guys can see here, there's obviously, and it seems like not a quad rotor, it seems like one of those Cybermen, if you will. That's what we should call them now, that have cameras, that have a lot of ammo and can't be taken down that easily. I suspect that it's similar to the tanks in World at War, and especially because it's made by Treyarch, it should be similar to that, only it probably moves quicker, probably can maneuver it a lot easier. There's a lot of features on it actually, and there's probably, it's probably going to take a lot to destroy one of them. And then on the right of this picture, you can actually see an SAS member, so therefore it's probably made in England, hopefully. And then it's glad that we can see the SAS again. They're pretty good. So let's carry.
What happens when the enemy steals the keys? Things they built to keep us.
Okay, so Woods actually mentioned that what happens when the enemy steals the key, and that's really interesting. And a really quick second, if you guys didn't capture it, that seemed like an enemy spy plane, or similar to like the Nazi Germany kind of planes that were run during World War II. But after the clip after that, because it goes really quickly, I didn't really capture all the words. It said intake, but the clip that you're looking at, if you look at during the whole city destruction and like Los Angeles that you're leaving, there's a massive white light. It's really hard to tell, I'll probably point this out in the video. There's a massive white light which actually resembles zombies. So this is one of the maps that are going to be in zombies, and I heard that they're going to implement the multiplayer maps into zombies, so it'll kind of be like Spec Ops in Modern Warfare 3, which is a good thing. But then look how many, like the clips of so many planes running in trying to destroy the city. Obviously zombies is coming back, and it's going to be a lot better than ever. The zombies are probably going to be more advanced, I suspect, or otherwise they wouldn't have no need for all this technology. Let's continue on. After that, we have some guy bursting through the doors. Clearly he's one of the enemies, one of the bad guys, just from all the symbols which connote kind of evil. And then you have the people in the Middle East cheering. Perhaps they're rebels, perhaps they're fighting for the government, who knows. And then we return back to the zombies clips, and you can see that in the bottom right hand side actually there's a lot of traffic. So obviously there's a lot of commotion, and there's cars set on fire. There's actually a massive shark. I don't know if you guys actually noticed that in the video. So it's really good to see that. Sadly, there is no light from the mystery box in this picture. I think it's a lot harder to see. So perhaps this is part of the multiplayer, just this section. And then in the last clip that you guys can see here is how you control the planes. And this really reminds me of Battlefield 3, just because of its layout, just because of the way you can actually turn, the limits to turning. Because right here we see that these are even probably aren't the limits that you can turn, but they have full control. The player has full control on how fast someone goes, and you can see all the kind of technical terms within like the control center, so that's really good. And you can see all the hit markers, because hit markers in campaign weren't really popular. So to see hit markers in campaign, and to know that you can take down another chopper with this current gun that you're in, that seems really good.
Safer turn against us. That's when they figured it out.
One thing I did notice in this clip was that there's police cards and that the helicopter got taken down, which is really weird because police obviously still have power where included in the army, so that's pretty weird. And then what I really wanted to slow down upon was this new intense, I'm sure everyone noticed this, the pistol that the main character carries and reloads, and it's really, it looks really high tech. And then in the next clip after that, it looks like Woods is back, but that doesn't look like him. So I don't know why. Maybe he got a new haircut or something, but it does not look like him. I think it looks like someone else related to him, because now he's telling the story. He's probably telling it in the future, and then the actual story probably takes place in the present now. So it's a little more to take in, but we haven't reached that technology yet, so I don't think that's the case. So therefore, I think that it's actually Woodsy's relative or something like that. And then again, we have the clip that you're seeing now is the SAS, at least I hope so, and they're the good guys, so it's nice to see them back.
They'll always need men like us. Those who are...
There was no way I was not going to pause on this, guys. I hope you understand. And as you can see from the background, I'm sure most of you realize this, that looks like a light from zombies, but however, this could instantly be a glare from the sun. But obviously, I don't wanna kind of give you guys false information, because it isn't a glare from the sun. It's actually just the mystery box, and you can see our character, hanging his head either in shame, in pride, or getting up, or spawning. And the zombie map really looks realistic. You can see all the dust from the left hand side, and you can see the sunlight from the right hand side, and it really builds a really good contrast, because it shows that he's basically the only one left in zombies. And he's got what, an M16, I think that is. You can just see from the model, and it's nice to see the mystery box obviously back in zombies, because I know many of you were kind of scared, saying, what happens if they change zombies too much, what happens if they do this, what happens if they do that. And it looks like he's on the top of a roof, meaning that you can probably make your way to the top of the roof and then just shoot the zombies as they climb up a building or something. That could be really interesting, and it opens up a lot of ideas and innovative structures for zombies. So let's continue.
Willing to do what others cannot.
So wow, this time we actually have horses, and for the previous clips I don't really need to talk about them, and they're really self-explanatory, especially when you guys can see what's happening on, so I don't need to waste time kind of explaining to you guys what's happened. But for this clip that we can see, there are horses, and I don't think this is going to be in multiplayer. I don't think that, if we've reached into the future, that we will be using horsepower in the future. But I think that this is just a quick getaway, a quick simple getaway that doesn't make much noise like a helicopter does. As you can see, they're trying to escape, all of them. They're clearly all on the same team, and they're either trying to escape, because otherwise they would have used a more up-to-date versions of catching someone, like a helicopter, a car. And I think this is going to be really similar to the other mission in Black Ops, where you have the Model 87 akimbo, no, not akimbo, in fact, just singular on the motorbike. It could be similar like that, but obviously when you shoot a gun, it kind of scares horses away. So that could be an interesting topic to see. And I'm glad it's in campaign. I don't think it'll be in multiplayer in terms of kill streaks or anything like that, but I do think it'll be interesting to see. Okay, well, this time we saw a lot of things that are still similar to what I've said or what I've mentioned earlier, so there wasn't really no point in me going over that. But then again, this actually proves some of the cinematics or animation that will happen within Black Ops while you're playing it. It does look quite similar to Black Ops, and like the way people die, like you can't take their heads off, but they will still die and create a ragdoll effect. Not as raggy dolly as say something like, I don't know, Halo, but was keeping to the Black Ops style. I think they've improved it slightly. There's nothing really much to say. There's a ship that blew up in the video. The graphics look similar to Black Ops, so for all you hardcore graphic noobs out there, these are the same. These are basically the same graphics as Black Ops. I don't think that the graphics would even make a difference. If you've seen an explosion though in Black Ops, you've seen it before. It doesn't build on impression. It doesn't make me want to buy the game even more. It just doesn't. But to some people, graphics, poor graphics doesn't matter, but that's fine, But in this clip anyway, we see that there's an AC-130. It's glad to see that back, but it seems more advanced. Like, you've got only 2 options now. It seems high and auto, and it's in the top right hand corner, so you can probably just pick between them 2. And it's got even a recording time just for purposes. And I don't know if you guys can see this, but in the top right there's actually a guy in white, and there's a couple of guys in white, but this one's like the clearest for me at the moment. And those are obviously the enemies, and they're not marked as red. So what does this mean for multiplayer? Does it mean that people stop being have like a massive target over their head saying, "Where's the enemy"? Perhaps it does. It's been your biggest fan here, Den51. Bye.
This product not yet rated.
As always, you can click the box and it'll take you to the previous video. It was about the conflict and him opening a really good keyboard and mouse that he got, and it was really expensive, and it was really nice that he had the opportunity to open the box and share his experience. And if you click on the box below, it actually shows a video of me on my previous video, and I don't want to spoil anything, so just go check that out.